Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler vlog, the Let's Talk to Cutler platform. It's the 13th, it's the Thursday of January, and the month is moving right along, and so are we. We're moving right along with it. If this is your first time stopping by, if your first time just passing by my channel, do me a favor, stop, hit the brakes for a while, just slow down. I just want you to be a part of my audience for about 1,800 seconds, and then I'll let you go. 1,800 seconds, and then I'll let you go. Why do I say that? Because every Tuesday and Thursday, I show up for about 1,800 seconds, just trying to inspire, trying to motivate, trying to challenge us to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. I'm not even looking at today as a loss, not looking at today as a flop, not looking at today as a failure, but looking at today to see are there some nuggets that we can pull that will make us just a little bit better. And more specifically, for this past few weeks, we've been talking about when I am overwhelmed, how to handle life at its most intense moments, because we know that there are some intense moments that are taking place, but we're just meeting as a community of winners, a community of fellow passengers along the highway of life, just taking a look to see what we can do to strengthen each other, to encourage each other, to inspire each other, to motivate each other, to become a little bit better. And more specifically, our focus now on handling life at its most intense moments. You know, we've thrown it out there. We've talked about some very intense moments that we're all dealing with. And we're reading from this book right here, When I Am Overwhelmed, How to Handle Life at Its Most Intense Moments. I encourage you, run on over to Amazon.com, pick up the book, because at the end of each chapter, there are some reflections, and then there are some questions that you should ask, some thoughts that you should take away from that chapter, and some opportunities for you to do some personal reflection. All right. Of course, we've talked about giving your emotion a voice. And what does that mean? We've talked about this whole concept of talking to yourself, things that we do when we are overwhelmed, and it helps us to handle those intense moments. Tonight, it's not going to be any different. We're going to take a look at some nuggets and grab a few things that we can do, that we can apply. So really, it's about application. What can I know and what can I do to really help handle those most intense moments of life? We're going to talk tonight about encouraging somebody else, because last time we chit-chatted, it was about talking to yourself, encouraging yourself, telling yourself that it's going to be all right. I'm going to ask you all a few questions, and you all think about this. What have you been telling you about you? Because we talked about it the last time we met, and we said one of the things that you have to do is talk to yourself. So I want you all to get ready. I want you all to chat it up with me, but I want to know, what have you been saying to you about you? I want to see what y'all have to say, and I'll see what y'all have to say as soon as I come right back. Meanwhile, go and tell people, come on, let's talk to Cutler.
Let's talk to Cutler. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to Cutler. Woo!
All right, I'm back. And before I go any further, I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs, the Let's Talk to Cutler VIPs for this evening. And they're the first 3 people to jump into the chat and start chatting with me. And they are Radella Lewis. And I told you, I think what I'm going to do now is just to pop in their comments so that you see them on the screen. Radella Lewis says, hi, all. And then Queen of Them All says, heart, heart, heart. And then McDina says, good evening, all. So those are the LTTC VIPs this evening. And you all, do me a favor, because this person doesn't know that I'm going to do this. But I see someone in the chat who celebrated a birthday. Can you all do me a favor? Got your Paula D. Can you all do me a favor? If you're in the chat and you're chatting with me, can you say a happy belated birthday to Paula D? So thankful. I got you with that one. So thankful that you're in the chat and that you're a part of our community, that you're a part of the fellow passengers. So I definitely wanted to say happy belated birthday to you. All right. So you also make sure if you're in the chat that you say a happy belated birthday to Paula D. And as we're chatting, do me a favor as we're chatting. If you're enjoying this conversation, if you like the tone and the vibe, as the young folks say, of our conversations, do me a favor and do a thumbs up on the conversation. It lets YouTube know that what you think of the conversation. All right. And it also encourages my heart. But you all, I asked the question before I popped in, with the commercial. What do you say to you about you? What have you all been saying? Because sometimes we want to make sure that what we are saying to ourselves is really positive affirmation, because people want to know that you speak well over yourself before you speak into their lives. Make sense? Because you really can't out of a full conviction speak positivity into somebody else's life if you can't speak it into yours. You really can't speak a strong affirmation over somebody else's life until you speak it over your own. So that's why I wanted to know, what are you saying to you about you? When you stand in the mirror and look, as I challenged some of us the last time we chit-chatted, when you stand in the mirror, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to you about you? Are you reminding yourself that you are an overcomer? Are you reminding yourself that you've been through something like this and you can handle it again? Are you reminding yourself that you have perseverance and that you have stick-to-itness? Are you reminding yourself that you deserve to be happy? Are you reminding yourself that you don't deserve suffering? Are you reminding yourself that you don't deserve failure? Are you reminding yourself that you deserve to win? That you deserve success? That you are created in the image and the likeness of the creator of the world? Are you all reminding yourself of those things? Thank you. I want to see, put it in as we're chatting. What are you saying to you? What one person says, listen, I'm reminding myself that there is nothing too hard for God. Yes, wonderful. And I'm curious, what specifically are you telling yourself? Donnell Feaster says that when she talks to herself, she says, you got this, girl. What are you all saying? I'm just curious, because perhaps some of us don't know what. Cutler, why would you have this segment and ask us what are we saying? Because perhaps some of us don't know how to encourage ourselves. Perhaps some of us don't know what to say to ourselves. Perhaps some of us are lost at words when it comes to having conversations with ourselves. You know, some people just don't know how to have conversations sometimes. Sometimes our words escape us and we don't know the right things to say. We don't know the right time to say it. Thank you. Zara Forbes says, she says to herself, there is a reason I'm here. Have mercy. Yes, I'm being prepared for something. Absolutely. Sometimes we look at what we're going through, because remember, we're talking about when I am overwhelmed. And a lot of times we can go through those overwhelming and those intense moments when we're able to talk to ourselves. What do we say? So when we're dealing with those intense moments, when we get the diagnosis, when we get the negative diagnosis and the prognosis from the medical team, what do we say? When we're standing at the grave of our loved ones that we prayed that God would give them 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 more years, but they didn't even have 3 more days, what do we say? When the finances don't add up, what do we say? When the relationships are crumbling, what do we say? You all, I'm talking about intense moments when we end up coming back inside to secure ourselves in the midst of a pandemic and we find ourselves alone. What do we say? We've got to say something to ourselves. We've got to encourage ourselves. I'm just curious. I want us to share. What are we saying to each other? Tracy says, I say, hold on, soon it shall pass. It won't be this way always. You've got enough inside of you to make it through what you're going through. We've got to say something. We've got to say something. I hear you, Donnell. And then sometimes we call out, Lord, please help. All right. I just want us more than anything else to deal with the level of just being pragmatic and practical so that we can help each other. Cutler, you told us to go and stand in the mirror. What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to stand and look at myself in the mirror and then just have a silent conversation and read my mind? But it is about really speaking to ourselves, about being able to tell ourselves that, you know what, you've got everything in you that you need to survive this storm. And I tell you all, I almost grabbed the sides of this chair because I wanted to jump up. But I sometimes have to tell myself, Cutler, you've got everything inside of you that you need to survive this storm. You all know when there's a snowstorm, we take off and we go run into the supermarket. We go running for bread and milk and cereal and eggs and luncheon meat and all that kind of stuff. We go running to get the snacks and all of that stuff. But what I can say to myself and what you can say to yourself is that I've got everything inside of me to survive the storms that I'm going through. And then after I get through one storm, thank you, Queen of them all. Then after I get through one storm, I can look at myself in the mirror and say, you don't look like what you've been through. And you tell yourselves that you're the kings and the queens, and you're not who you used to be. I'm not my experience, but I'm made stronger for it. I hear you, Zara. I'm made for it. I'm made to survive this. I'm stronger than this. I'm greater than my circumstances. I'm stronger than my trials. I'm greater than my circumstances, and I'm stronger than my trials. I'm trying to help myself as I'm helping you all. All right. I just that fell on me with such conviction, you all. It fell on me with such conviction. Because I'm keenly aware that we are all dealing with critical and overwhelming situations. But we have enough in us. We have everything in us that we need to survive the storm. We talked about being alone and being lonely, and in particular, being alone, because alone is just the physical isolation, but lonely is the emotional abandonment and the psychological and the mental feeling like we've been abandoned. But even in our aloneness, sometimes we look at that as a negative thing. But one of you all sent me an email, and I want to thank you for that, because even in our aloneness, sometimes we can put a positive spin and a positive perspective on that. Because guess what? Sometimes our aloneness is just a moment so we can be strengthened, so that we can be renewed, so that we can be fortified, so that we can be charged all the more and refueled for the fight. Our aloneness sometimes gives us an opportunity to not just be alone, but to be shielded from the negativity and the mess and the drama of others. Right? So I just wanted to do a summation and a summary and pull up from the last time we talked. From the last time we talked. I just wanted to be able to pull that up. We go through some things and we say, I'm all the better for it. I'm all the stronger for it. Because you do know the things that sometimes challenge us, just like working in a gym, where there are things that resistance is what builds muscle. When we have to push against the things that come to crumble us, I'm strong enough to stand against it. And while I'm doing what I can to use my strength and my energy, it's building my muscle. But then, of course, you all know I've got to go here on a spiritual plateau. I realize I'm not fighting by myself. That is what helps me to make it through. And then we get through and we get on the other side. And we celebrate the wins. We celebrate the victories. How small, no matter how small they may be, a victory is a victory is a victory. And you do have to say to yourself, thank you, McDinah. You have to say to yourself, you know what? I don't even smell like the fire that I've been in. I don't even smell like the smoke. That's what we've got to say sometimes. All right. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that because I want us to be so assured when we look at ourselves in the mirror that we can say to ourselves, there are some things that I deserve. I deserve to be healthy and whole. I deserve to have peace of mind. I deserve not to have calamity and chaos. I deserve all of that. And then there's some things that we say, listen, I don't think I deserve this. I don't think I deserve the suffering and the struggle and stuff that I'm going through now. And it is true. There's some things that happen in our lives, make no mistake about it. There's some things that happen in our lives that we don't deserve. But I'm encouraged with our ability to sometimes put a positive spin on those things. And if not necessarily a positive spin, to recognize the lesson. Sometimes the lesson is just that I made it through. And why do we make it through some things? We make it through some things, you all, just so that we can do, as chapter 3 says, encourage somebody else. I have a poem that I might share with you all. One of the poems that I wrote says, tired and weary. And sometimes we wonder, why am I going through this? Why am I dealing with all of this stuff? Because I'm tired and I'm weary. But I may just read that tonight. But the end of that poem says, although I'm tired and I'm weary, I hang on today because my brother or my sister might become tired or weary tomorrow. Chapter 3 is about encouraging somebody else. I'll get to chapter 3. Let me just go into chapter 3. Let me just go into chapter 3, because chapter 3 opens with this whole notion. I start writing and I talk about karma, because a lot of times we talk about karma, but karma is found within Buddhism and Hinduism. But sometimes we talk about karma, we say karma is a beast. Sometimes people say karma is something else, But karma is found it is this belief that is found within Buddhism and Hinduism, and it suggests that whatever you do is going to come back to you. Well, we have a concept that we talk about, but more specifically, karma is like it's those who practicing and Buddhist and Hindus, they believe that there's a driving force that will determine when you are reincarnated, how you're going to come back. That's what karma is all about. So let's be careful about citing and quoting karma if that is not your religious practice or your belief. Because if, on the other hand, if you are of the Christian faith, then you say, no, it's not necessarily about karma, but it is about the process of reaping and sowing. Because within the Christian faith, we believe that there are no do-overs. Once you die, there are no do-overs. You don't get a chance to come back and right the wrongs. You don't get a chance to come back and correct the mistakes. But whatever the case may be, whether it is a matter of people who believe in karma or people who understand or believe that there are no do-overs, here's the thing. Here is the pivotal point. These guiding principles admonish us to be careful with how we treat people, with how we talk to people, with how we handle people, or sometimes mishandle people. We've got to be ever so careful, because we are in the business of encouraging people. And may I tell you all, I always try to be transparent. I want to tell you all that as I was growing up, and I'm thankful for my experiences. And I remember growing up, my personal journey included a whole lot of things, Christian revivals and a bunch of that. And those were wonderful things, the convocations and the conventions and the conferences, and those were wonderful. But may I suggest to you that really what was most special to me, the moments that were most important to me, apart from my individual worship time, what was most important to me were the times when other brothers and sisters took the time to speak into my life. And I don't mean on the large scale, but I mean individually. Just one-on-one, took the time to say something positive to me about me, took the time to offer me an encouraging word. And I still remember up until this very day, there are people back home, some of them are now sleeping eternally, but there were some people who would always say things to me that somehow encouraged me. And I've never forgotten those things, because they took the time not just to speak into me, but they took the time to pour a part of their lives into me. We have to understand that we're just not speaking words, but we're pouring a part of our lives into other folks. So we have got to learn how to encourage somebody else. Encourage somebody else. Let us not be so preoccupied. Let us not be so busy sometimes doing nothing until we forget that we are called to be kind. We are called, we are expected to be kind. That is the part of our assignment. You know, everybody nowadays is talking about, she understood the assignment, he understood the assignment, all of that. Let's understand this assignment. Our assignment as a part of humanity is to be kind. Somebody just put that. Be kind. You want to tell folks that they understand the assignment. They understand the assignment when they are kind and compassionate and understanding and courteous. That's understanding the assignment. Understanding the assignment has nothing to do with fad and fashion and trends and what you wear, how your hair look, what kind of makeup you got on, what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in, what your job is, or how much money you got, how much you don't have, or what's in your bank account. None of that is about understanding the assignment, but the assignment is about, how do I treat my brother and my sister? How do I treat my fellow human being? That's understanding the assignment. Maybe I should do a segment about understanding the assignment. That is understanding the assignment. If you choose to believe this narrative as I do, even Jesus himself said to his disciples, I don't call you servants, but I call you friends. I call you friends. Treating people as friends, that is the assignment. Caring about people, that is the assignment. Talking with people instead of talking at people, that is the assignment. From the country assignment, understanding the assignment ain't got nothing to do with your body proportions or any of that. That ain't understanding the assignment. I wish I could broadcast. Y'all, please help me share this broadcast tonight for folk who want to understand what the assignment is. You're talking about understand the assignment because you driving this, or your body looks like that, your hair is this, and your makeup is this, or your wedding looked like this, or the reception looked like that, or your graduation party was lit and all this. That ain't got nothing to do with the assignment. All right. Cutler just went off about understanding the assignments. I only got 1,800 seconds, and here I am going off. But it's true, you all. Because guess what? When I get to the end of this journey, when I no longer occupy this shell that I'm in, that is the assignment that I want to have understood. And part of my assignment is making sure that I'm a good steward over the lives that come into my life. I say it all the time. My mother taught me one of the things that you don't do is let people come and go out of your life and you don't get a chance to know who they are. Thank you, McDiner. That's the assignment. If I can help somebody with a word or a song, thank you, Paula D. That is the assignment. Treat others the way that you would like to be treated. That is the assignment. It's all wrapped up here in chapter 3, encouraging other people, you all. That is the assignment. Sometimes it's just to give people a nice word. Just to give them a nice word. I wrote it here. It's in here. Even Jesus, when he was talking to his disciples, when he was talking with them, he didn't just give them an agenda and say, here, go run with it. But he modeled for them. He modeled for them what the assignment was about, because he didn't just talk to or talk at, but he talked with them. What can we glean and say that our assignment is? Our assignment is to build one another up. Our assignment is to bear one another's burdens. Our assignment is to consider how to motivate each other, because we are strengthened by the exchange that we have when we sit and talk with. That is the assignment. That is the assignment. Tracy, I'm looking at your comment. I did a study on courtesy. I'm reading Tracy's comment. I did a study on courtesy at checkout at the mall, getting her psych degree. And most stores failed at saying hello and thank you. And may I suggest to you, my friend Tracy, many people fail at saying hello and thank you. When I talk to young people, and I have to find myself now, not just when I talk to young people, when I talk to people in general, I say there are some niceties, some courtesies in life that really will help you understand the assignment. Hello is one of them. Thank you is one of them. Please is one of them. You're welcome is one of them. And though we fail, not us, but there are people who fail. And they're focusing on what they think the assignment is. That stuff is just a quiz. That's just a quiz that weighs that. But you all know by profession that one of my professions is a college professor. Some stuff that you do doesn't have any weight on your final grade. You're just expected to do some stuff. But other stuff weighs heavy. Common courtesy, treating humanity right. That is important. It is important to sit down and talk with people. It is important to sit down and do, as I said, to recognize that we are strengthened by the interchange and the sharing of thoughts and ideas and conversations with each other, so that we are pouring into each other's lives. Let me say it again, interchange and sharing of thoughts and ideas. Some people get together and they don't share thoughts and ideas. What do they talk about? You all know the old adage, the saying that says, great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. We don't need to be small-minded. We need to get together and exchange ideas. Ideas about how I can make it. Ideas about how I can strengthen my brother. Ideas about how I can encourage my sister. Ideas about how I can speak to myself when I'm feeling overwhelmed and when I'm going through. Ideas about how I can reach the young people who are just as overwhelmed as some of us. Ideas about how we can reach the older people who are just as overwhelmed, if not more so than some of us. Ideas about how to be more kind, how to be more civil, how to be more humane in life. Ideas. That's what we need to exchange. Get back to the roots. Get back to the roots of being able to say yes. I see you, McDiner, MV rather, for saying thank you and yes, ma'am, and absolutely. People ask me, do you really still say yes, ma'am, and no? I'm almost 60 years old, but I will say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, until the day I die. Absolutely. And the young folk of my family know that they just don't walk up to me and say yeah and no and uh-huh. It didn't work like that. We've got to model for people. We've got to model for people what it looks like to do right by each other. That we've got to do. I know I'm almost out of time. And I will come back and I'll still talk about more of chapter 3, because I really want to talk about how do we encourage each other. And it's there in chapter 3. I'll talk about it more the next time we meet. But I wanted to build us up. I wanted to motivate us. I wanted to strengthen us. And I wanted, to the extent that I can, to help us learn. It is important. Bearing each other's burdens are important. Putting other people as priorities, that's important. Can I tell you all this? I am so encouraged because you all remind me of my assignment so often, whether you know it or not. I got an email from someone the other day. I wrestled with whether or not I should release the video of me doing my father's eulogy. I didn't release that until over a year, you all, because I had some trepidation and I had some anxiety about it. But there was something in my soul that says it's okay to release it. And then when I released that eulogy, there were so many people who watched it and said, your timing was amazing. One person said to me, Cutler, that video was just what I needed because I'm about to bury my brother. And she went on to tell me that while I watched your video, I had my brother's shirts, one of my brother's shirts, and I took his shirt and I made bow ties out of that shirt so that my other brothers could wear during the memorial. She thanked me for it, and she has no idea. And I hope you see this video. I hope you see our broadcast this evening. That encouraged me so much because I had so much trepidation about, do I do this or do I not do it? But in my heart of hearts, I released it because I said, while it brings up, it brings up sadness for me. It brings up just a sorrowful moment. Maybe it will help somebody else as they try to honor a loved one. And when I got that message from you, you reminded me of part of my assignment is to sometimes put others before your own feelings. Not that you have to beat yourself up because, I told you, if you start beating yourself up, don't be concerned. Don't be surprised when other folk join your fight. But be concerned about humanity. Be concerned about doing the right thing by other people. Let's be concerned about encouraging other folk. Why do we do it? How do we do it? Why do we do it? We'll talk about that next time, but let that be important for you to take the time to encourage people. Sometimes we don't know what to say, but think about this. We are more alike than we are different. If we have mental anxiety and emotional anxiety and all kinds of fears and trepidations and worries and doubts, if we have that, so do other people. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Put yourself in the shoes of the person. I want to do this and I'll close. Sometimes when we don't know what to say and we say, listen, I'm just not going to reach out to them at all because I don't know what to say. What if you were going through what that person is going through and no one reached out to you? A very dear friend of mine, daughter passed yesterday. One of my friends called and told me about it. And she said, did you see what so-and-so posted on social media? I said, I haven't. Please tell me what it is. And she said, I don't have the heart to tell you. I looked at it and saw that his oldest daughter had passed. He's well known. I didn't know whether or not he was going to take my call, but I dialed the phone anyway. And he said, when I saw your name, I knew immediately that I would take your call because yours is the voice that I needed to hear. And I said to him, my friend, I don't know what to say. Very little leaves me speechless. And he said, it's just your voice that I needed to hear. We are more alike than we are different. We all hurt. We have heartaches. We want to know in our moments, and I got to go, you all. We want to know in our moments of being overwhelmed, sometimes that somebody else is thinking about me. I encourage us, you all. Let's learn how to encourage other people. Thank you all so much. I know I've been going for it for these 1800 seconds, but I want us to be charged about encouraging other people. And I want us to be charged about what our conversations. We don't talk about people. That's what small minds do. But we discuss ideas to help people make it. I want us to be charged about understanding this assignment. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. You all, listen, let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Stay safe, whatever you do. Stay safe and stay sane. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. And understand this, that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. All right. You all tell your fellow passengers good night. All right. Y'all have a good evening. Bye-bye. Love you too, Mom.